Hey guys, hope you're all doing well. Just going to give you some more updates on the 260Z here. Haven't been able to document as much as I wanted to on it, just been really busy. But a lot of progress actually just this week. Me and my dad, we've been working pretty heavily on it after work and after I get home from work. But we got the radiator installed, we got the hoses installed, stainless steel clamps all the way around. I actually ended up using my 280Z hoses, but I had to cut this one because I ended up having to go with a different radiator. I actually had bought a 4-row radiator, but it was for a 280Z, and the 260Z uses a 240Z style radiator. So it's a little bit different design. And so I had to buy a different radiator. So that was something I ran into. So I got the radiator there. Fans wired up, got the fuel injection all installed. That's what I've been working on today, primarily. That and also a little fuse panel. I decided to go with the fuse block instead of the thermal fuses or thermal breakers. So I ended up making this nice little panel here, and this looks really good. So this is where all those wires where you saw earlier tied together. I got them all branched into this little box. And I'll be adding one because actually I'm still working on the fuel injection stuff, as you can see. So I'm going to add a fuse block for the fuel injection over here as well. So still got some harness to add. But I did that, and I actually ended up painting this thing the same color as the taillight thing. I just thought I'd add a little color to it there, something a little bit different. And of course I installed the charcoal canister. I don't know if I'm going to make this thing active, but I just like to have stuff in this car that's going to look original. That's what I'm after, because all this stuff gets stripped out of these cars, and I mean, you know, for obvious reasons, it was emission stuff, but you know, it's rare you see that kind of stuff in a build. So cleaned up the bracket. I found this blue color paint that's very similar to the Nissan color, and so I ended up using that. I actually bought the can of paint probably like 6 or 7 years ago. I actually bought it for the 2+2 when I was going to work on it, and just ended up using it on this car here. But did all that. Still working on fuel management. So I've got our fuel lines down here. I've got the original fuel rails here, and I ended up deciding to mount the regulator over here. So it actually took advantage of some screws where a fusible link box went inside the 260. So I ended up just using those things there. I modified the bracket for this. Still got to run a vacuum line for the intake, you know, and plumb everything in, but got that, and then of course it's going to run back here to the back of the fuel rail, and should work really well. But got that going on, and still got to clean this bracket up. Haven't cleaned it yet, but I do have everything wired. Also, I did add another General Motors connector from last video, just a single, and that's for my fan, the fan relay for air conditioner control. So I added that into the harness so it can be unplugged for diagnostics if it needs to be. But lots and lots and lots of stuff going on. Lots of just thinking mostly as well. Just having to figure out how I want things to work in this car. Because this is not a factory car by any means. It's a 280Z and a 260Z mashed together. So it's kind of crazy. But anyways, I'll kind of show you here. We'll go in here and I'll just kind of show you how things work. We'll go to this side of the engine as well. Just kind of show you how it looks on this side. So here's the harness from this side. I still hadn't mounted some things like the dropping resistors. I've got them just propped up here. I'm actually thinking about using magnets on it, some earth magnets, because I don't want to drill any holes. And actually I started to drill holes before I got this car to the body shop. And I found that this firewall is actually different than a 280. So you can't use a 280 as a guide to drill some things on a 260. So I ended up not drilling any holes there. And so I'm going to figure out something there. So there's still some things to figure out. But we go on down here. I got the harness ran. I got it reloomed. And I also did away with some of the harness. So I no longer have the air regulator. So I actually cut out and removed the air regulator connectors. The cold start injector has been removed. I got to get some block off plates for this, as well as the air regulator feed. So I got to get rid of that. But ended up tying our harness back together here. So here's our advance wire, the red wire. That's going to be the electronic advance. Here's our fan controller wire. I've tied it into the loom as well. And then of course our fuel injection temperature sensor up here. Now I hadn't reloomed this one yet because I've actually got a resistor in this. I'm going to be playing with some values in order to get this thing to run like it needs to run in the right air-fuel mixture. So I'm going to leave that kind of unloomed until I get that all figured out. But airflow meter's connected. Working on something really cool right here. So I decided, like I said on my last video, I decided not to use the air box because it's going to take a lot of modifications to this radiator bracket. So what I actually ended up doing was I found a really cool filter that matches the car. And so I'm going to come out here and do like a cold air intake kind of thing. And probably just put a shield on the front of it so it doesn't get really saturated with water or anything. Because this car probably won't be driving in the rain as much as I can help from it. But looking at doing something like that. So I'm still piecing this together. I just thought that was a cool filter. It matches the car. I bought it and it's like, that's exactly the color of the car. So I thought that was really neat. So that's still, you know, in progress there. Still figuring some things out there. But yeah, pretty much the engine is ready to run. I'll turn it over for you. Now, one of the injectors I have unplugged, and I've actually built this light years ago when I first got my 280Z out of the junkyard. I built this LED package with some hot glue just to test to see if we have injector pulse. And I'll show you that we actually have injector pulse on this car. Let me go in here. Something else I will show you too real quick before we go there. I put a new header on this engine, and we actually go up to a 2.5 inch exhaust, and I've actually installed the O2 sensor down there. So actually I went today and had, I'll give Stan's Automotive a shout out here in Fort Payne. They did a really good job welding that in for me today. So I've got my O2 sensor installed, which is it's not plugged in yet because I don't want to have it power up before the engine's running. I'm still working on some of that stuff. And I still have the vacuum stuff to do as well. So I took all those vacuum lines I showed on my last video I was using just to test. I gotta go buy some line and make a vacuum line harness. And also that's going to tie back into our fan wiring as well for the fan sensor. I'm going to tie all that into the vacuum hoses and bring those back around. Clean everything up. Just keep everything as clean as I can. Of course, this hose here, that went to the fuel regulator. So it's going to go back over there. It's going to be a longer hose running over there to the fuel regulator. And that's how that's going to work. But let me show you this right quick. We'll actually go in here and we can turn this car over. So when I turn it over, you actually see that little bulb blink. Let me actually zoom in here. I can kind of show you this. So we'll kind of zoom in on it. You can see it actually flash with the car turning over. So that's all working. And then also, I've got my fans wired in, as I was mentioned, to the air conditioner. So I've still got the switch on here. And so I've got the compressor unplugged, but I've got our pressure switch jumpered for our AC system because I don't have Freon or nothing in it right now, so I don't want the compressor kicking on when we do get the engine running. But this is just you can see that red jumper over there, that one right there. That's tied into our what would be our pressure sensor for our AC system. So it thinks it's actually got pressure right now. So if I go in here and I actually turn on the blower, you hear our fans kick on out here. So there's our fans running. That right there. It kicks on one first and the second one. And then when I turn the AC off, those fans cycle off. Like so. So all that's working like it should, like it's supposed to. So very good stuff. We're making some really good progress on this car. Also, I've got a early steering wheel here. Let me get out of the car, I'll show you. So I've also got this early steering wheel here that came out of one of the cars that Matt and I purchased. And he was actually going to surprise me with it. He redid the finish, so Matt, thanks for that. He actually clean this up and put some nice paint on it. I was going to try something with blue paint, but this stuff does not behave like wood because it's not wood. It's rosin, and as you can see, I like to never got that blue off this wheel. It's actually still on there a little bit, but what I'll actually have happen is next time Matt's working on a car, you know, he's the one that did all the body work, I'm gonna mask this thing off and let him give this thing a clear shot on this finish on the actual rim of the wheel. But actually, I wet sanded that. I sanded this down. It was all corroded really bad, so I literally took, I think I started with 320 grit sandpaper, and I actually sanded this thing on a piece of wood with sandpaper, and just kind of resurfaced it. And then I went to like a lighter, I just kept going to a lighter sandpaper, and then I actually ended up buffing it at the end. So this little Datsun emblem turned out pretty good. It's got a few little blemishes in it, but I did repaint it. But it turned out pretty good. I'm really happy with how that turned out. But anyways, guys, that's I will show you this too right quick. I'll show you the fuel injection stuff in here for those that are curious. So some of you may remember when I was getting this car going. Let me get adjusted here so I can get down here. So some of you guys may remember when I took the brackets and stuff out of the Turd 280. So this is actually the Turd 280Z EFI bracket I welded in this car. And so now I've got the actual fuel injection back like it would be in a 280. It's a little bit different because it's a little tighter. The harness is a little bit different slope, but it doesn't interfere with the clutch pedal. So that was my biggest concern. So it doesn't interfere with that. And I still got to work on my, I still got to work on my hood. My hood mount. This is the fresh air vent. This is the hood release. This is out of the 280. It's different. It mounts different. So what I didn't realize is when I welded in this bracket here is that actually the hood mount mounted behind this. And so now since I welded this bracket here in, I've actually covered up those holes where the hood release would be. And so I got to do something a little bit different there. Not a big deal. That's little stuff. But I thought you guys might just like to see that. But I got all that. I got our relays and everything tucked back under the dash. So all those are back up in there. But yeah, making some really great progress. This little car's turned out to be really nice. But still got the interior. Still got to do the doors. The doors are still in pieces here on both sides. Still got all the interior. Got to finish putting in my deadening mat, and so still got a lot of work to do to it, as well as the glass. You know, still don't have any of the glass in it. Got to get a front windshield for it, so that's something I've got to do. But overall, though, we're making some really great progress on this car. It's really turning out to be a nice car, and of course I've painted a few more things here. I got the actual tag light repainted here, so that's going to match the rest of the car. Got to paint the tag support that goes behind this, so I've still got that to do. And the trunk lid, I've got a few things going on with it as well. I've got one of our new pieces here to go in there. This is actually a seal. What this is, it's a seal that goes inside your hinge pocket, basically, and it's a protector. It's just a seal, and so I've got to put those in as well. Just waiting on one. One was back ordered, so I'm waiting for one of those to come in. Something else I'm going to be experimenting with this car, with the fuel injection, is I've already tested this on the 77, 78 and it works. But I've actually got a BMW module. And so you can actually run a BMW Bosch L-Jetronic module in one of these cars. The number on this one is 0280 001 102. And this is an official Bosch. So that's one I actually tested in the harness on the when I was running the floor. You know, I ran the engine on the floor. I was using the Turd 280Z harness. I actually did test that computer and it ran really good. So that computer may actually run pretty good in these cars. I don't know if it's going to work on a 75, 76 harness. They are different. You got a different airflow meter. So some things are a little bit different. So I don't know if it's going to work on this car, but I'm going to give it a shot and see what it does once I get to that stage. Well, I'm just kind of sticking with what worked to first before I start, you know, experimenting. Also, I'll show you what did come out of the injector harness. So this is all the scraps right here. But update all the connectors. I can replace some of these connectors that were really corroded. Some of them I got rid of altogether. This was the cold start thermotime switch harness, as well as the other section of the harness. And basically I just cut them off and I capped off the wiring, so it's still in the harness. So if I ever want to rewire it for these, I can. But while I live here in the south, we don't ever get that cold. So very rarely do you ever need a cold start. But we also got a new, that's for your throttle position switch. And then that was for the air regulator. That's a heater. It has a heater element in it that heats up. So got rid of that as well. And just updated some things there. Some connectors that were pretty bad. This is the airflow meter connector. Got rid of it. Put a new one in it as well while I had everything apart. And that's just all the old looming and stuff. And something else I have been doing as well with this car, because I'm all about documentation, is that I've got this manual here that I'm actually writing in. So anything that's been done to it, I'm writing updated on the pages. For example, this air conditioner stuff, I've changed out some things. We no longer have this connector here, for example. I replaced that with the General Motors connector. So here's your colors and here's your pin numbers of your General Motors connector. So anything in this manual or anything in the car I've modified, it has documentation in this manual. This manual will stay with this car. So whoever, hopefully it's a long time from now, but if anybody ever ends up with this car outside me or my family, there'll be documentation of everything that's been done to it. And of course I'm going to go back and clean this up a little bit too. Right now I'm just trying to get everything documented as I work. So for example, I've got new schematics for certain circuits. For the brake check, that was that circuit I added. So just trying to keep everything updated as well as I can. Also right here we have a General Motors connector. So changed out the pin out here, relocated what was going on here. So anything that's changed is in this manual, just to make it a lot cleaner. For if anything ever has to be serviced on this car, it can be kept up with what has been done and what connectors are now used and what color coding is used. So just trying to keep it really clean here as well. But anyways guys, appreciate y'all watching, and there'll be more to come here very soon. Hopefully the next video will actually be this thing cranking up and we'll run it. And I have run that engine in the floor. I've got that exact engine running in the floor. If you guys haven't seen that, I'll post a description. Actually look at the top of the video right now and I'll show you. You can go to that link and you'll see where this engine was actually running. Because I did do a test in the floor and it ran really good. So I've already done that part of the testing on it. But anyways guys, appreciate y'all watching. And if you like this content, please subscribe and keep a follow on this thing. It's a lot of fun for me, and I'm sure hopefully some of you guys enjoy it as well here. But y'all take care. Also a little bonus footage. I know I hadn't showed you guys Mossy Oak in a while. This is actually something I've been working on to go test run that car. I bought a little cheap basically pulse pump for my little sending unit. For my fuel cell I bought. I actually found this fuel cell really cheap. I gave like $30 for that little fuel cell. And so I originally converted it to work with a vane pump. That's what this one here is, for a 7/16 line for like a 280Z fuel pump. So I've got it fixed where I can convert it either or. So I can go with a pulse pump for like a carbureted car, or I can go with a vane pump connection for like a 280Z. So this is going to be a really handy little test module for the Balma Z part stuff. And of course I bought that line. I'm cutting it as I need it to use on this car, so that's why there's so much line. But anyways, just want to show you that as well right quick. That's something I want to show you. I know I hadn't talked about Mossy Oak in a little while. Just hadn't been over there in the last, I guess this weekend. Last weekend I was over there, but I worked on a Chevy C10. So didn't really have time to work on the Mossy Oak or show anything. Plus I forgot all my cameras, so couldn't really document as much as I wanted to. But anyways, that's what's going on there. Hadn't quit with Mossy Oak or the Z collection stuff. Still gathering parts, making things work. Got the fuel tank actually cleaning right now. So this will get us around till the fuel tank's ready.